Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trading Capital's daily live stream of the market open. Today is currently month end, May 31st. Jumping into the session here, we did get some data this morning on the PCE front, and that data came in much softer than what the market was expecting. So therefore, you have the indices gapping up. The Russell 2000, again, breaking above yesterday's prior high in the pre-market, putting in a high of roughly 205.91 in the pre-market. And you can see it's clearly had a huge gap up. You are into some resistance here on the Russell IWM. You can clearly see this downsloping channel or trend line from these pivot highs to this pivot high. And you're tapping this area right now. This area also happens to be a Fibonacci 50% retrace zone, which you've actually pierced in the pre-market. So the Russell is at some technical resistance, but since you pierced this level in the pre-market, there's a shot that the Russell can even go up to about 206.70 today. 206.77, 206.70. That's your 618. Now we are seeing a bit of sell side pressure coming back into the market, but with the dollar collapsing today, with yields collapsing to the downside today, we should favor equity markets to trend higher, especially since it's month end, especially since you have a lot of the drivers, the important drivers are in place right now for the market to trend higher. Softer yield, softer dollar, nat gas just turned slightly green on the session, oil slightly green. But overall, small caps should be set to rip here. I think that we're probably going to see some profit taking off of the open and then likely a continuation move higher into the end of the day. I think it could be setting up for a bit of a trend day with the inflation data coming in kind of in line with what the market was expecting. So again, you are seeing likes of UPST, SunPower, Sunrun, DJT, that's Donald Trump's ticker. All of these names are actually showing considerable signs of buying pressure at the moment and looking like they're wanting to squeeze higher. So I think a name like UPST, we can probably continue. Again, UPST, we did hold some of that overnight, but looking to potentially see if it can squeeze some more. Plug Power is another name of interest. I'm just scrolling through some of these short interest names. Carvana is one that could run. AI seeing another momentum push today. But it looks like UPST is a very strong chart in my opinion. Plug Power. And maybe we might play some more of these solar companies. I know we're swinging a bit of SunPower from yesterday, which is up another 8 cents on the session. So that one could be another continuation move. Believe it or not, SunPower, with the fundamentals say, could even push, if it has an exaggeration move, it could even push to about 438 on some sort of a squeeze type event. But that Donald Trump ticker had that initial dump yesterday. So let's look at this DJT because there might be a bit of a play here on the long side. And one of the reasons I say that is because DJT had that news yesterday, indicted on, 30 charges or something like that. So potentially the first president of the United States going to be charged criminally. So, I mean, we'll see if it happens or not. I mean, it's going to certainly throw a lot of other curveballs into the election cycle. I think a lot of Republican fans may not really like that, but obviously what initially happened off of that dump yesterday was, let me go to the pre-market here. DJT actually had a really sizable dump. It dumped about 15% yesterday on the news, and then go figure, got gobbled all the way back up. And look at this dump yesterday. Now it's all the way back to the high. So that's telling me something, that even on bad news, this ticker wants to still try to rally and push higher. And believe it or not, I mean, you get through this pivot high here, which I think we're going to test today. We're probably going to try to go for this gap fill at 61.97. So I'm going to watch this name on my other screen. I'm looking for a back test of the prior day high. So around 52.75 for an entry on DJT. I'm looking for us to back test the prior day high on DJT for a bit of an entry. Let me just turn on this. Again, you do have some earnings that came out. Zscaler pushing up. Costco slightly down. MongoDB getting demolished. That's gapping down over 20%. There might be a trade on MongoDB. We'll have to watch that one. So again, we should see a continuation move today, higher. Morning. So Sun Power continuing to squeeze higher, guys. Keep that one on watch. SPWR, high short interest name. Testing, trying to close above the prior day high. That's always a bullish sign. Sentinel 1 would be a good buy today. Let's take a look at Sentinel 1. Yeah, so that one's getting actually hit in the pre-market off of its earnings. I totally forgot about this earnings yesterday. Gapping down. Did have a surprise beat on both the double top and bottom line there. Yeah, Sentinel 1's coming into a massive gap fill. Let me just work this on my other screen before I bring it up on my other chart. Whoops, Sentinels. So again, Sentinel 1 is gapping down. I'm just doing some work here on Sentinel 1, guys. Just give me a second here. I'm just doing some work on my other screens on Sentinel 1 because it is a potential day trade long today. Maybe also a short. Big technical breakdown though. That's a really big technical breakdown. What are we down right now on Sentinel 1? We're down about 17-18%. That's a pretty big down move on Sentinel 1. And Georgiana, for swing trade, I mean, there's you can start accumulating in here, but just keep in mind that it could push down to its double bottom at 1240-ish, 1244. So if you're wanting to start accumulating in here, it's an aggressive buy because you are gapping down in earnings, but there's a huge gap fill here on Sentinel 1. That's really the only technical signal that I can give you, other than the fact that it's extremely oversold now with this gap down, pushing a 2.5 standard deviation move to the downside, and into this massive gap fill. So I mean, those are really your only two areas. It's aggressive to try to chase the gap. I would feel a little bit more confident at this $15 level, but the gap could work out. I just wish there was another factor. I really don't have a moving average. I don't have a fib level. I don't have a trend line. All I have is a big gap down, oversold condition with a massive technical gap. So I can't give you much more than that. Let's see if there's any sort of a channel of support. If we were to draw it from this pivot high to this pivot low. So I mean, if you draw your parallel channel from this pivot high to this pivot pivot low to pivot low, you can see you're actually hitting that channel. So there's a couple factors, but now if we extend this channel a little bit lower to this slow pivot, then you could go a little bit lower to this 15 level. So I would personally wait for 15. I'm actually going to put an alert there for 15, just above 15 bucks, because I do like that. So I'll put an alert there and I'll watch that one. And if it starts to press a little bit higher, just let me know. Sun Power continuing to squeeze here, guys. Sun Power is continuing to move. So the QQQ, believe it or not, I think we can push back up to about 455 today, maybe even higher. The big level that I want to see maintained is this downsloping trend line. I want to stay above that area. If we stay above that area, I think we're going to test this 454 upsloping trend line. Again, I would highly encourage you to draw this trend line that we got rejected at yesterday. It's simply speaking, it's just this little pivot to this little pivot. So I'd highly encourage you marking that on your QQQ chart. And I would consider a long on MongoDB below 218. Below 218 on MongoDB. Look for a flush to 15. That's where I'd take a flight. Yeah, see, Chris and I are in confluence. I like 15 as well. Chris, I do like 15. So we have about 10 minutes till the open here, guys. 10 minutes till the open. The Russell is leading the charge right now. It has hit its resistance in the pre-market all the way up to 205.91. It has pulled back by about almost a buck here. So I'm expecting a retest of that pre-market high, which is kind of that 50% fib level. And I mean, technically speaking here, guys, if we actually just remove all of these key moving averages just to clean up the chart, the Russell 2000's actually triggered somewhat of a bullish pattern here. There's an argument for an inverse head and shoulders. It's kind of a very peculiar one, but it's there. So we just need to be mindful. The Russell is trying to Russell's trying to trigger this momentum push. Your neckline now on the Russell, IWM, would be from this high pivot down to this low level. And you can see you're above that neckline. So as long as you maintain price action above that neckline, I mean, you got a pretty decent sized potential move in the Russell 2000. You know, we're talking about a move up to about, 209 on the charts. And that would be a pretty substantial rally. So I'm just going to mark that potential high pivot around 209. But there is a potential for this inverse head and shoulders on the hourly chart to try to play out. So right now oil's trading at about 78. So I'm really watching this Russell 2000 pattern, because if this plays out, you know, we got a pretty substantial move to the upside in the IWM. You know, there is a lot of resistance though in this parallel channel. So it's not going to be an easy straight shot move to get through it. But we just want to be mindful that 209 target, as of now, this pre-market action, if we stay above this neckline, we have triggered a potentially bullish move on the Russell 2000. And the big shortable level on the Qs, I think a lot of people are going to be sitting at this 454 area, this upsloping trend line where we got rejected before. I'm looking for a move to your prior day low. Alright guys, so let's get ready for this market open. We have 6 minutes. Again, I'm watching MongoDB below 218. I like it. I'm watching Sentinel 1 around that $15 level. I'm still watching SunPower for potential continuation. I'm watching DJT, Dow Jones, or sorry, not the Dow, Donald Trump's ticker there, for a potential back test of the prior day high and looking for an entry in that name. I'm watching Upstart here. Upstart's another one that's kind of shaking and moving right now, trying to push higher. QQQ is softening right now. We'll keep these main indices up on the screen for you guys. Just be aware the Russell has triggered, as of now, a bullish inverse head and shoulders pattern. As long as we maintain price action above the neckline, we want to favor some upside in small caps. We could still see them squeeze. All right, so the Qs are starting to come down a little bit. Same thing with the Russell. Qs are now pushing down to about 452 here on the charts. Pre-market high was all the way up to 453.35. Adobe's catching a really big spike here in the pre-market. Adobe catching a decent spike in the pre-market. DJT also continuing to push here. So it's Friday. Expect month end. We have the technical setup for a bit of a trend day to the upside, even though we're seeing the Qs and things get faded right now. Technicals are shouting soft dollar, soft yields, oil's fairly muted, nat gas fairly muted. We have the recipe for a bit of a trend day to the upside. Gold, silver are strong today. Russell's also strong. You do have the Qs coming in a touch here. Obviously, you still have some really overbought names, the likes of NVDA, Google, Meta had a really big dump in the pre-market. Yep, Sentinel-1 is at $15 right now, guys. In the pre-market, Sentinel-1 is at $15 right now. Piercing, $14.91. Whoa, $14.80. I'm not buying yet. I'm going to wait for this pre-market to open. We might get one more flush on the name. And then there's a bit of a long trade. But get ready, guys. Sentinel-1. Let's look at this ticker here. The QQQ back below 452 at the moment. Seen some heavy sell sides coming back into Google and Meta. All right, markets are open, guys. Sentinel-1 catching a bit of a boost off of the open. Sentinel-1's at my buy level, but I'm not in yet, guys. I'm just trying to see if this market wants to shake some people out here first. Maybe go a little bit lower. It is extremely weak right now. MongoDB trying to bounce. Sentinel-1 still weaker than ever. Adobe getting hit pretty hard right now. Sentinel-1 going even lower. Qs are trying to firm up here. Microsoft's dumping, which is why the Qs are really struggling in this range. Alright guys, I'm going to take a stab here at Sentinel-1, 1455. 1455, this is a 1/4 entry. 1455, 1/4 entry on S, ticker S, 1455. 1/4 entry. I will basically add to the position every 40 cents. Every 40 cents. So I'm long Sentinel-1, looking for a potential move here. QQQ still being sold into ever so slightly. I'm long ticker S target. I'm looking for a move back above 15. Back above 15, guys. Back above 15. Carvana getting wrecked. DJT, guys. All right, I just went long DJT, guys, at 52.58. This is a high-risk trade. Small share size. 52.58. I'm long DJT. That's Trump's ticker. All right, guys, get ready to secure some profits on Sentinel-1 if it bounces sharply here. It is trying to bounce. All right, DJT is going against me. I'm going to add it. $51. My next entry on DJT, 51. $51 I will add to DJT. You're seeing Tesla getting wrecked, Google Meta firming up. Alright guys, I just took profits there on Sentinel-1 at 15.08. I'm all out of Sentinel-1, 15.08. Sold it for the first win of the day. DJT is really kicking my butt right now. But I'm all out of Sentinel-1 for a lovely little gain, 15.08. Guys, my average on DJT now is sitting at 51.70. 51.70. My average on DJT, it's a half position. It is going lower. Adobe's falling. Upstart's still trying to press. QQQ selling in here. Wow. All right, I'm going to add one more time to DJT down here. 49.38. This is not looking good. 49.38. It's a 3/4 position, but honestly, the way that this one's declined, I don't think I'm going to add any more on DJT. I'm just going to keep it a 3/4 position and see what happens from here. It did have a bit of an overshoot. My average is now sitting at 50.57. 50.57 on DJT, and this one keeps on going lower at the moment. SunPower reversing. A lot of weakness creeping back into the tape right now, guys. Qs are getting demolished. I apologize about this DGT. It is going against me in the near term. Definitely not what I was expecting. Bitcoin dumping, NVDA getting wrecked, Microsoft getting wrecked right now. So, I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Typically, you know, with yields weakening, dollar weakening, you see the markets rallying. Right now, we're getting sold into here. No real action in the VIX yet. That one's still showing some signs of being sold into here on a Friday, which means that we should still see a market bounce at some point. Just a matter of where. But the market right now had a pretty strong sell side pressure. UPST trying to firm up here. Short cover on Dell. Great start. Nice, nice, nice. All right, the Qs are trying to firm up here, guys. S&P catching a nice sizable bid. Sentinel-1 continuing. All right, guys, I'll do one more add to DJT down here, 47.70. 47.70, that is my final 4 of 4 position. I am getting hit pretty hard right now on the downside as DJT's coming in. QQQ still trying to firm up here. My average is now sitting at 49.74, so I'm down quite substantially on the position, just over 4%. Still no bounce yet in DJT. We are hitting that 7-day moving average. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Upstart continuing, Sentinel 1 pushing higher. Upstart is just pushing, guys. UPST ripping here. Expedia is ripping. WBA is seeing some strength. Let's see if DJT can firm up for us. Upstart is just ripping, guys. UPST, Sentinel 1, that is ripping to the high side right now. You have the S&P and Qs slightly green there. QQQ's up 0.1%, so it really hasn't rallied it much at all. You have the S&P up 0.3 and the Russell's up 0.8. But you are starting to see some more green appear on the screen. More green is starting to appear on the screen, guys. UPST still trying to firm up here, guys. Big bounce in DJT. Sentinel 1 continuing. Anyone still holding Sentinel 1? Nice job there, guys. Nice job. All right, here comes DJT. Trying to push. Come on, DJT. Capture the prior day low. Recapture that prior day low. Wow, Sentinel 1, guys. Huge bounce off of that 1450. That was an 8.5% bounce. Off of the lows, Sentinel 1 has had almost a 10% bounce. Quite extraordinary price action. MongoDB selling off, making new lows. You have Upstart continuing to press. Microsoft's weak, Google's weak, Bitcoin seeing some sellers. QQQ coming down a touch. Apple's really strong today. Upstart just put in a new high of day, guys. UPST putting in a new high of day. Costco starting to dump. Thank you for the update. Let's pull up Costco. Come on, DJT. Take us back. Now you have SunPower starting to firm up again. Yeah, Costco is under some pressure at the moment. That's down on the session 2.5%. So staples are probably seeing some downward pressure at the moment. Intel's slightly green. AI's down about a couple percent. Carvana's trying to catch a bid here. Just scrolling through some of these short interest names. Just trying to see if there's any sort of momentum play. Again, SunPower continuing. UPST is a monster, guys. That's continuing to push. So UPST, anyone still holding anything from yesterday, just continue to adjust those stops. Continue to adjust those stops. Intel's seeing a nice rally here. So INTC is firming up on the charts. What else do we have going on? Alta, that's up 1.43% off of earnings. HPQ down about 6. HIMS down about 4.5. Whoa, Ambarella up 18. Holy. Seeing Sentinel's only down. Dell's down 18. Summit down. SMMT down 21. Tesla slightly green. Marvell's down 6. Here comes DJT trying to make a little bit of a push here. Let's see if they can take it back to the green side on DJT. That would be quite extraordinary. Upstart new high of day. UPST new high of day. QQQ still trying to press above this trend line. So this is the important trend line that we're watching on the Qs. If we stay above that, I think we can trend back into this area. I am seeing the dollar taking a little bit more of a wave of selling. MongoDB still selling. SunPower still trying to squeeze here. Guys, keep MongoDB on watch because that one is starting to... Alright guys, I just exited DJT there for about a 10-cent loss on the trade. About a 10-cent loss on the trade there. I did exit DJT for a 10-cent loss on the trade, and we can look to reevaluate now. I am seeing the equity markets coming under a little bit of pressure in the near term. This might actually give us an entry into the Qs, believe it or not. Still seeing NVDA strong, SoxL strong. But the Qs are coming under some pressure right now. QQQ coming under some pressure right now. Still seeing some strength in the small caps. MongoDB still coming down. UPST seeing some sellers. CRM is flying. Okay, that's good. Yep, CRM is flying. The Russell right now still trading near the highs, but coming in a touch. You are seeing some sell side pressure hitting the Qs. Not a good sign for the Qs at the moment. That's a very, very bad sign for the Qs. Taking a look at the Russell 2000. So 2 trades on the books for us. 1 winner, 1 small loss of about 10 cents, but we were able to manage that DJT. But Sentinel 1 paid us nicely. I am looking to re-enter back in on the long side here, guys, but I'm just waiting to see how the Qs react here. Qs are trying to stage a little bit of a bounce here. Just a tiny touch of a bounce. All right, at the moment, the Qs are still struggling here, guys. The QQQ is still struggling. The Russell 2000 you can clearly see is at resistance, but still maintaining that inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's going to be interesting to see if it can hold that area. All right, we are still seeing the Qs selling off. Same thing with the Russell, coming down a touch. NVDA curling down, Amazon near the lows. So, I mean, surprisingly, the market is displaying a lot of weakness right now. A lot of weakness. The Russell 2000, though, is continuing to push, guys. So the Russell's looking like it wants to firm up here. This DHAC ticker is trying to break out, maintaining its highs near the session. DHAC, high flyer. It is trying to maintain its higher range price action. It could start to squeeze at some point today. It's a risky name, very small market cap, up already 53, 55% respectively, but it is trying to potentially make another move higher here. Well, we can see how it reacts. It is starting to come down now. Qs are still coming down lower, guys. Again, your pre-market high on this DHC was at 35 bucks. Quite crazy. Seeing QQQ trying to hold above the prior day low. at the moment. Let's look at the Russell 2000 now, guys. Plug power coming in, Sun Power, UPST. Pretty much everything is selling off here across the board. Again, the VIX still really isn't reacting the way you would think it would react. Still seeing the Qs testing the prior day low. Wow. Crazy price action in the Qs, eh? That's crazy, crazy price action. QQQ breaching the prior day low, trying to come down a touch more. This is where the Qs should be defended by the bulls. At the very minimum, the Qs should be defended here at prior day low. If they're not, this market could go in for a bit of a sell side day. Again, there is some support at this 449.35, but not looking too hot right now in the moment. Adobe near the lows, Amazon having a massive technical breakdown today, Bitcoin under some pressure, Microsoft trying to find some buyers off of this lower boundary support, but still struggling immensely. Yep, directors of NVDA selling last week, that's for sure. So we're still seeing the markets defending prior day low on the Qs. Again, this would be a long entry. Good risk to reward ratio. You could even use the day low as a stop loss on the Qs. This is a good risk to reward entry. I'm gonna try to take a stab here, guys, long the Qs. Long the QQQ 450.47. 450.47. And I'm gonna use a stop loss, just a hard stop at the low of day. So call it a 450 stop on the Qs. Your pre-market lows at 449. I may get stopped out of the Qs here, guys. Yep, they just stopped me out. So we tried. So apologize about that one. It looks like the market's already flushing today on the NASDAQ basis. You still have the Russell and SPY positive, but they are trying to bring a lot of sell side pressure into the mega caps here. A lot of profit taking ahead of, I guess, the month end reports. QQQ making new lows there. A lot of sell side pressure coming in to the market again, mainly from mega cap tech. Again, you're seeing Amazon, Microsoft, Meta all being kind of obliterated in the near term. Microsoft down another 0.62%, and that was after a heavy sell side day yesterday. So you're seeing continuation, profit taking. You're seeing SMCI down about 4. Tesla's strong today. ARM is slightly green. Meta's down 1.1. Amazon's down today. Google down 0.44. VXX, anyone for a swing? Could be. Could be. Again, I still think that the Russell's holding its bullish price action at the moment, which shouldn't be overlooked in the near term. The fact that the Russell's still remaining bullish, I still think at some point mega cap tech can get a bounce today. I'll have to watch those volume trends, make sure they don't get too crazy light on us. Qs are trying to defend a little bit of a bounce here. Daily chart support is sitting at 449. The Qs have its 20-day moving average sitting at 449, guys. So 449, if we flush down to 449, I'll try to take a stab at the long side again. That's your daily 20 moving average on the QQQ. So 449 is also your pre-market low. But I'll try to take a stab there if we flush to that 449. A little bit of buy pressure coming back into the tape. Mullins pumping. Crowd reporting earnings on Tuesday. Thank you, thank you. Expedia, Shopify are ripping. WBA is ripping. Adobe's trying to firm up off of the lows. Here comes a bit of a QQQ bid. A really big bid, actually. Qs are trying to recapture prior day low. That would be a bullish start. Russell 2000 still looking fairly bullish on the session. Still the Dixie down. The VIX is also red. And as long as the VIX stays red today, guys, the market does have a strong chance of bouncing. They keep selling the VIX on a Friday. We've seen this happen where they keep selling the VIX on a Friday and it causes the markets to bounce. So even with the sell side pressure in the equities, the NASDAQ, the VIX is still down 2.4 in the UVXY. The VIX is down 5.26% itself. So you're still seeing that trend, that correlation on a Friday where they dump the VIX. And as long as they keep doing that, as long as fear doesn't creep into the market, they can easily give this thing a little bit of a facelift. I'd be surprised if they don't give it a facelift into the end of the month here. But Amazon, huge breakdown. Apple's surging here. Apple's trying to firm up. QQQ making a nice push. Again, that Russell's still holding bullish structure at the moment, guys. The Russell 2000 still maintaining bullish structure at the moment. As long as it does that, the Qs could see more upward pressure. Or the Qs may be putting in a bit of an inverse head and shoulders base here on the 1 minute chart. You see the 5 minute chart on my screen, but I'm looking at the 1 minute time frame. And if we check back and now sell off a little bit, create a right shoulder down to about 450 again, that could be a bullish formation. So again, I still like longs. The risk to reward right now I think is favorable to the longs. I was hoping for a 449 tap, never quite got that. So this is potentially the little bit of a back test on the Qs. Let's throw on the QQQ 1 minute chart so we can see some of these potential patterns. So potential inverse head and shoulders being created here. This is now the right shoulder formation. All right, so the right shoulder formation is trying to play out here, guys. If we can break above there, you can trigger a little inverse head and shoulders bullish pattern on the Qs. Big dip coming in though. All right, I'm going to pick up some common shares long here on the Qs, 449.87. I'm long again, 449.87, 1/4 position, guys. 1/4 position. I'm long 449.87 on the Qs. Let's play ball. And honestly, I think I'll build into a position from here all the way down to 449 if we flush. So next add level would be 449. Maybe just a slight pierce. Qs are starting to come down a touch more. Would you be a buyer of long-term Amazon? I do like Amazon. They have a very, very strong business model, continuous growth. They're slowly gobbling up, sector by sector by sector. So I do like Amazon. But I would personally be a buyer of Amazon probably around, in the 160s. I think that makes sense on Amazon. But they have a strong business model. Long term, even if you're buying here and your dollar cost averaging down, long term account Amazon's a great business. The fact that they have such a phenomenal subscription model offering countless perks should, they're every which way you look at their business model, they're just looking to excel and continue. So I do like Amazon. Long-term accumulation is fine by me. All right, QQQ coming down again. Again, I will add to the position at 449. A pierce of 449, I'll add to the position. Qs are coming down steady right now. US dollar spiking? Yeah, barely. Barely. It's just hitting some technical support at 104.40. So, I mean, it's really nothing crazy yet on the US dollar. That's a small blip on the day. All right, get ready to add to the queues. I'm about to add my second entry here at 440, appears to 449. All right, I just got filled there, 448.95, guys, 448.95. We just pierced that level. Wow, the sell side in the queues is quite extraordinary, actually. My average is now 449.36. So half position. I'll basically add again at 448.20 if need be. But what a sell-off in the queues. Russell's now breaking down. SPY and Q are negative, while the Russell's maintaining positive price action in the near term. Qs are catching a nice little spike. Some buyers are trying to step in. Still seeing Amazon weak. Amazon's approaching its daily 100 moving average, sitting at 174.82. There might be a bounce trade on Amazon in that range. QQQ trying to firm up. Still a lot of relentless sell side pressure, guys. You're shorting NVDA. Okay, nice job. That one's, yeah, it's coming in hard. NVIDIA is coming in really hard right now. QQQ going back lower. 448.35 is my next ad level, guys. It's coming up now. And then 447.80 is my final. Alright guys, I'm about to take my third entry long on the Qs right there. Just got filled. Just got filled. My average is now sitting at 449.04. 449.04 long the Qs with a 3/4 position. 449.04. And we have one more entry down at 447.80 again, if need be. Russell's still backtesting this ever so important neckline. So the Russell's still holding bullish structure. It's backtesting that neckline. We'll see if it wants to firm up. and continue pressing off of that inverse head and shoulders. QQQ getting a sizable bid at the moment. Seeing DJT, plug, Meta's at the lows. Between NVDA and Meta, things are just selling immensely here. You know, this market is showing some signs of accumulation for sure. But I mean, the sell side is relentless in mega cap tech today. You know, in terms of sector performance, still quite a few strong sectors: healthcare, real estate, energy, regionals, retail, Dow Jones Transportations, industrial average. It's really, again, your XLK, XLC that are weighing in on things right now. So your leaders are weighing in on the market. QQQ still trying to bounce in this region. No luck yet. No luck yet. Sox puts are roaring. Nice job there, Ram. QQQ, new low of day there. My, oh my. Russell 2000 still holding that neckline. Again, final entry on the Qs is 447.80. Jeez, the relentless sell side. NVIDIA now at 1,098. Amazon continuing. Microsoft new low of day. So still seeing relentless sell side pressure in the equity markets, specifically around the NASDAQ sector. Qs are coming into our final entry here. Our final entry on the long side of the QQQ market is approaching quickly. Very, very quickly here. NASDAQ is now down another 0.8%. VIX is still not seeing any signs of accumulation, which is surprising. I mean, I know you still have the Russell strong, but the VIX is not showing any signs of accumulation just yet. All right, guys, I did add my final entry there on the QQQ long. My average is now sitting at 448.62, and it is still going against us in the near term. Wow, what sell side pressure in the NASDAQ right now. That is remarkable. I mean, maybe they want to push it for that gap all the way at 446 zone. That would be quite extraordinary. If they push it for that gap at 446, that would be quite extraordinary. You have the SOX down about 2% now on the session. Still a really, really weak tape right now. Russell's still trying to firm up here, but the Qs are just under immense pressure at the moment. NVDA trading at below 1100 at the moment. QQQ still struggling immensely here. Seeing a little bit of momentum trying to shift back into the Qs, but still immense sell side. Immense sell side pressure. Now approaching 10:30 time frame. 10:30 time frame. Amazon's tagging its daily 100 moving average, so Amazon is trying to firm up here and find some support. It's had quite a bit of harsh selling, consecutive sell side pressure. QQQ still at the lows. Russell's maintaining that neckline at the moment. New low of day on the Qs there, guys. Still dumping. Even the Russell's losing its neckline. Yep, ANF at 170. Thank you. That's right. It's a good cover zone here on ANF, guys. I am actually going to cover my ANF here for a nice profit. So I just covered my ANF short, guys. QQQ still really struggling here, guys. Russell's lost that neckline. Ram saying, any Jets recommendations? It's a tough one on Jets. You know, oil's trying to sell off, which does provide a little bit of positivity for the Jets. You know, every time oil tries to go down, the Jets will likely see a bit of a boost higher. Wow, look at the Qs. Now down 1.1, guys. Alright, guys, I just closed my NVIDIA 1085 put. I just closed that NVIDIA 1085 put. 1,085 put just went in the money. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, Ulta looks like an interesting long. Does look like a potential long setup. Alright guys, I have one more final entry on the Qs where I'm actually going to double down on my full day trade position. It's down here, 445. So I'm going to double my position. This is a rare event, but the Qs are seeing a harsh down move that really we haven't seen and witnessed in quite a bit of time here. So this is where 446 just appears to 446. I'm going to double my QQQ position on the long side. And again, this is now running into a point where I'm down in the trade. I'm trying to work my averages to bring us to a point where I could even be satisfied with a break even at this point. Alright, I just added there at 446.14, 446.14. I took it a touch early, 446.14. I doubled my QQQ position. And this is now trying to just get a break even at some point. So my average is now 447.55. Again, this could either work for me or could work against me. Could go either way. Ulta had that huge move up and now it's reversed all of the gains. So that's quite extraordinary price action on Ulta. If you want to try to take a day trade stab at Ulta or long here, it's a good point of entry, but just recognize that I still think it could go to about 350 on the chart. So leave yourself some maneuverability in the event that it wants to go a little bit lower here. Pretty much everything got annihilated there. The Russell 2000 almost trying to go negative. And what's interesting is you just have the VIX slightly green, guys. The VIX, I mean, I would have anticipated a little bit more of a spike with the sell side. Come with you on the SQQ and SOXS. I mean, I'm already holding SOXS, so I'm fine with that. You know, I'm already holding QID. I'm holding SDS. I'm holding RWM. So, I mean, I'm okay on the short side. We took profits on the shorts already with ANF, Abercrombie and Fitch. That was a nice little trade there. Expedia still doing well. WBA holding steady. Semiconductors are still seeing some harsh sell side. Qs, really no bounce yet in the Qs. Still just struggling off of this region. Russell, you can see the Russell's about to go negative on the session. Alright, Qs are trying to firm up now off of that zone. Let's see what type of action we get. Now imagine they just try to rip this market higher. But it's been a relentless downtrend all session. Yields are still soft. Gold and silver reversed on the sell side pressure. You've had nat gas trying to hold just slightly above its daily 200. Oil's even weak on the session, trying to come down some more on oil. The Dixie's now trying to spike. Added 2Ks of shares on GME. Nice, nice, nice. Trying to take a little bit of a high flyer momentum trade. QQQ still can't firm up in this region. Even Bitcoin selling off some more. The Dixie's still trying to push higher. Microsoft at the lows. QQQ pressing even lower now. Qs are trying to make another new low of day. Can you believe it? Just no bounce yet. No bounce in the equity market just yet. Again, the Russell's now also gone negative, so all three major indices just went negative on the session. Amazon still seeing a lot of selling pressure. Same thing with Microsoft, NVDA, and Meta. Meta is doing a retrace of a 10-minute bottoming tail. We'll see if it wants to firm up. Still no bounce in the Qs. I mean, we're now into that heavy gap fill, and we're still not bouncing yet. As the dollar again is trying to firm up. Now I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 10-minute red candles in a row on the Qs. 8 10-minute red candles in a row on the Qs. And that's some hard sell side pressure. That's some really firm pressure. Yeah, I think that's a good risk to reward bet on SOXL right here. Again, though, we're still seeing Microsoft bleeding down 1.85%. I mean, they're just taking Microsoft to the woodshed right now. Wow, Qs just every which way they try bouncing, boom, sellers. Try bouncing, boom, sellers. Microsoft's starting to put in a bit of a positive divergence on the hourly chart, which suggests that there could be a bounce coming soon. I mean, you've had some relentless sell side pressure on MSFT, and it's getting oversold intraday. QQQ, new lows. Russell going for new lows. SPY at the lows. Yep, very happy with the SOX trade. Nice job, Paul. SOX is a beast. And again, I mean, we should have been prepared for this, this sell-off. We've been expecting a decent-sized sell-off occur to the market. We've been talking about that technical RSI weekly setup that we've been discussing in every member video for, at least the last 2 weeks. We've been discussing this weekly setup that is occurring in the markets. The last time we saw it was 4 years ago, the technical setup, the exact same setup, and it seems to be working out pretty well. Markets are going through a pretty harsh decline in the near term. So, I mean, while we have some long exposure on the table, we're definitely net short this market. Pulled some more profits today. We did take one small loss. NVIDIA is trying to firm up off the 1092 level. 1092. Still a little bit of ways from its 7-day moving average on NVIDIA. It's 7 days sitting at 1076, so just have to be mindful that daily chart support on NVIDIA is still a little bit lower, which obviously means that the Qs can fall some more. Alright, Qs are trying to defend that little bit of a double bottom where we added and doubled our position. Sun Power getting faded pretty sharply here on the session. I would highly encourage, if you're still long Sun Power, to put that stop to break even. Again, we entered off that 319 level yesterday. Don't let that trade go against you. Dixie again is still trying to firm up here. All right, Microsoft's trying to settle down here and firm up. Still at the lows of the session. GOEV, high short interest. Can she squeeze? That's a good question. Let's take a look. GOEV. I mean, any stock can squeeze, right? But yeah, this one's breaking out to the upside. Weak stock, strong market. I like that. I like that. Sorry, strong stock, weak market. I like that setup. And if it has high short interest, that's even better. So yeah, this one's trying to get a nice little stick off the lows. I mean, this one could definitely be setting up for a bit of a squeeze. I'm not too sure what the short interest is. You are running into some resistance here, but the fact that this stock is trying to firm up when the market is actually under a lot of pressure is a little bit telling that, you know what, this name could keep trending all day long. If the markets try to firm up, this name should see some additional flows into it. So I think any sort of a retest lower at the prior day high is probably a good entry point if we're trying to play GOEV. What's the volume on it today? I didn't do a daily volume check. Let me just make sure it has a little bit traded behind it, since it is a smaller cap stock. Volume today is 2.28 million. So I mean, it's okay. It's just a low priced equity, so you have to take that into account. The Russell 2000 continuing to see some sellers going lower. Just give me one sec, guys. Guys, I'm just taking a quick phone call. Just give me 1 second. So a good move up in the Qs and the Russell. Things are trying to firm up here across the board. Nice push in the Qs, guys. Nice push in the Qs. Again, I'm looking for at least a break even on this trade, if not more. Could try to retest this previous breakdown zone up here at 449, but our average is sitting at 447.55. Since it's a pretty big position, if we get to break even, I'm going to sell half of it